And so he says that they have, this was in 1997, by the way, these interviews. So who knows what has changed, but they talk about blank slate technology. And he says that that's what they were trying to develop, that you could actually go back to certain points in history and change the timeline. The reason that they have not been able to accomplish it, they said they have the technology per se, but that blank slate technology is unique and that the traveler has to be coded for that power.
So the show, The Travelers.
Basically, like the traveler has to be a match for the tech. And they don't have anyone who's a match for the tech and can do it. And I thought to myself, Mom was BST.
Oh my God.
I believe that.
Oh my God.
So the excerpt I want to read to you is very fucking interesting. Okay, so this is the last part of the interview. And what he's talking about here is he says that humanity is at... just one other tidbit to get to this part of the interview is that he ends up defecting from this group.
So he quit?
Yeah, he escaped.
Oh, he escaped.
Basically. Not escaped, like he says they're non-violent and stuff, but that is such high secrecy. He knew they were going to wipe his memory.
Oh my God.
And so he wanted to get this
like Men in Black.
Yes.
Oh my
God. What happened is that they came across this sacred site in New Mexico, which ended up being what they called a time capsule. It was in a cloaking technology, so they had to use special tech to open this cavern, which was 24 chambers filled with hieroglyphics and artifacts and all this stuff, and they were able to decode it. Oh, because they've also used technology on themselves, people in this group, to advance their brain so that they can absorb information at like lightning, like to advance their intelligence. Like this guy spoke like 34 languages. But he does say that you can't ascend. Like you can become intelligent, but the powers don't come. Like,
because it's artificial.
Because it's artificial. Like some of them have mastered like telekinesis and all of these things, but anyway, so they discovered this site and blah blah blah, and they make contact with the race who left this time capsule, the Wingmakers, which is one of the angel chips that Mom mentions. And in it, he says they had communication with them through these hieroglyphics. Like they were able to make telepathic connection. And the Wingmakers say that there are 7 time capsules on the planet. And they will open like at the right time, basically releasing codes to our DNA type of thing. So once he makes contact with the Wingmakers, he defects from this group and realizes something else is going on. And like, he just decides that he's like, because they are giving him a prophecy, basically like similar to the Hopis, that like humanity's coming to a threshold where he says the elites are going to want transhumanism because that's how they survive.
Oh, that's why they want everyone to be furries.
Yes. They want it, the vaccines, the chips, they need to make us synthetic so that they can stay alive, so that they can inhabit bodies. The other option is obviously the Ascension, which is that we are upgrading our human operating system to be like galactic humans organically, not synthetically. So this is interesting because within this part of the interview, he talks about something called the Grand Portal or the Great Portal, and about how this portal will bring the first source into physical manifestation, which already happened, and that this will connect all of us back to the original source. And he even talks about how you have to erase the first false memory, which was that we were separate.
From God.
Yeah. So here's the part where he says that the elite has these 2 models, and this is what they're trying to do. So he says they are looking at it from 2 angles. One, if the technology, meaning these like synthetic implants and whatever it is, could be introduced at birth, it would mitigate the cost of like healthcare, education, all of this stuff. But he says the second angle was to allow class distinctions and free markets to make this technology irresistible to everyone. Basically, like first to give it to rich people, and then people are going to want it, and then trickle it down so they could make money off of it. And he says basically the technology, transhumanism is the last phase, and it is the phase that the elite want. Basically, every human would be programmed through these synthetic implants. And he also says that this is so that humans will unwittingly try to become the Anunnaki to themselves, because he says the Anunnaki programmed us to believe that they are gods, right? And that they're waiting for the savior to come out of the clouds, because he said that was part of what the Anunnaki programmed in, was like they were going to return from the clouds as God.
Sky Daddy programming.
Yes.
Classic.
So he says basically if we go that direction, that humanity will try to play God to itself. It will do this because it can't imagine how humanity can actually save itself through simple behaviors. They will do it because they are programmed to become integrated with technology. That is the path the wingmakers seek to avert. They say that the human beings are complete if they can step out of their consciousness frameworks and realize what is actually powering their artificial systems. And so then he says, he said, this is where it will be tested. It is in the military first, that's where they're trying to test it. And that there's a whole field of psychological technology of them implanting people and like testing it. And then he just, says about how this is how they tricked the Atlanteans and the remaining Lemurians and got them into enslavement, all that stuff. So then let's see. Oh yeah, he says humanity is at a crossroads. On the one side, you have these like three organizations of power that want to develop the human 3.0 as a cyborg. And the other side is the future existence of humanity, urging us to do this process internally, one person at a time, through behavioral process changes. And then he goes, I guess that for me is the missing role of the grand portal, which remains unclear. I thought it was a technology to prove the existence of the human soul. And then he says, there are humans here incarnated who are designers of the new operating system that will bridge human populations everywhere on the planet. It will connect humanity into the unity consciousness, and it will not be a hierarchy. The designers of this new operating system are on the planet now, and they are doing the preparation required to move humanity, who are still sitting at a fork in the road. And then that's when he tells the interviewer that she couldn't release the last part of this interview until the time was right. So I don't know when it must have been by 2011, because this is what I read. But he said he was waiting for the wing makers to say, like, when. Release it. Yes. And that not everyone was, like, ready for the information. He basically says when you release things, when you're ahead of your time, people won't listen.
Yeah, I know some lady that knows that a little all too well, so.
It's pretty crazy, though.